Good evening and welcome to VSB News Online for Tuesday, June 2nd. I'm Charles Webb. Local football fans were shocked to learn today that Sepp Blatter has resigned as president of football's governing body, FIFA, amid a corruption scandal after only being re-elected last week. VSB sports editor Earl Baisden has that story.
In announcing his exit, the 79-year-old Swiss has called an extraordinary FIFA Congress as soon as possible to elect a new president. Blatter was re-elected last week despite 7 top FIFA officials being arrested 2 days before the vote as part of a USA prosecution. Blatter is quoted as saying, "My mandate does not appear to be supported by everyone." He added, the next ordinary FIFA Congress is scheduled to take place May 13, 2016 in Mexico City. This will create unnecessary delay, and I will urge the Executive Committee to organize an extraordinary Congress for elections of my successor at its earliest opportunity. This will need to be done in line with FIFA's statutes, and we must all allow enough time for the best candidate to present themselves and to campaign. The Extraordinary Congress is expected to take place between December 2015 and March 2016. FIFA was rocked last week by the arrest on charges of racketeering, wire fraud, and money laundering as part of a USA prosecution that also indicted 14 people. A separate criminal investigation by Swiss authorities into how the 2018 and 2022 World Cups were allocated is also underway. However, in a statement from the Swiss Attorney General, which states the Office of the Attorney General of Switzerland has taken note of the announced resignation of Joseph Sepp Blatter as president of FIFA. It goes on to say that the Office of the Attorney General of Switzerland has opened criminal proceedings against persons unknown on suspicion of criminal mismanagement and of money laundering. Therefore, Joseph Sepp Blatter is not under investigation by the Attorney General of Switzerland. His announced resignation will have no influence on the ongoing criminal proceedings, end quote. I'm Earl Baisden reporting for VSB News.
An 81-year-old Devonshire man is in critical condition in the intensive care unit of the King Edward Hospital this evening after the motorcycle he was riding on Lane Hill in Pembroke on Monday afternoon collided with a truck being driven on Cavendish Road. Inquiries into this accident, which took place around 1:50 p.m., are being conducted by the police, and any witnesses should contact the main police telephone number at 295-0011. Argus Insurance today became the first local insurer to lift the maximum restrictions on overseas major medical care and to remove the 6-month waiting time for pre-existing conditions. Michelle Jackson, Executive Vice President for Group Insurance at Argus, said that it has given the company great pleasure to be able to offer full coverage at a time when it is most needed.
It basically means that your insurance should be there when you need it. So it really is around providing peace of mind, and it's around the fact that if you do have any issue where you have to go overseas for health care, that there will not be any annual or lifetime maximums around your health care coverage. So that's the main issue around the removal of maximums. We've also removed pre-existing condition limitations. So previously, and for many other insurers, we're the first local private insurer to remove these pre-existing conditions. So previously, people come onto plans, and they'd have to have a 6-month wait before any major or overseas treatment would be allowed or covered by insurance. We've removed that. So your insurance should be there when you need it, and that's part of the philosophy that we have here at Argus.
Now, in layman's language, in other words, if you use it up, you have a major illness, it's not going to be a punishment for you if you get ill again. Is that it in a nutshell? Yeah,
in a nutshell, if someone has had any history of illness, that's not held against them. So they won't be on a group plan saying, oh, sorry, you've been sick, so this is not going to be covered.
You use all up your
Exactly.
credit.
Exactly.
Some of these figures run to millions.
We've had claims that have been millions, so absolutely. And the reality is we're all about promotion of health. So we don't want people to get sick. Most people don't want to get sick. We have to really look at prevention and all of the things that we know we have to do, eating right and exercising and trying to promote health. So that's what we're doing with Thrive, and that's Argus's philosophy. However, when you get sick, your insurance should be there when you need it. And there's one more benefit that we have that we're really excited about, and it's, again, offered free of charge, which is a partnership we have with Cancer Treatment Centers of America, which will give any Argus client who has a cancer diagnosis or gets a cancer scare free second opinion.
Education officials are also excited about achievements made in the middle school transformation plan that they are rolling it out exhibition style at Cedar Bridge Academy on Thursday evening. Director of Educational Standards and Administration, Dr. Lou Matthews, said department personnel, principals, and teachers are working tirelessly to improve educational outcomes of all students in the middle school system.
Over the last year, we've been working through those things, making sure that as we get to classrooms every day, that teachers are supported, that they have the professional development and training that they need to do their job well, that there's a clear idea and a vision, a shared vision around what good teaching looks like for every child, and also every child that struggles, that they have the support they need, or we call them interventions, so that they could be successful, because we know middle school children, we know children at this age, they will struggle at times, and so, but we need to be there in place to have proper supports, and the audits taught us that we didn't have proper supports in place for children around the country that need it academically and behaviorally.
Did you have any buy-in from the parents?
Lots of buy-in from the parents. In particular, as we talk about our showcase coming up, you're going to see work, encore work, plays, choirs, work that really involves a lot of parent and parental engagement.
Did discipline factor into any of this?
Well, discipline at this is always an issue for young people in this age. What we like to focus on is how do you help young people build positive relationships? How do you make positive relationships with each other, with their peers, with teachers, with their families? How do you make that the focal point of what you do in your climate and in your culture of your buildings, so that teaching becomes easy? You know, teachers have to deal with so much stuff, and we realize that if we're going to improve teaching and learning, that we have to simultaneously work on strengthening what we're doing culturally and in terms of climate for our children as well. So in this plan, there's very strong support for changing what we do with behavior, how we engage students. In fact, when students struggle academically, that often makes its way into behavior. So the two are so connected, and you have to do both really at the same time.
And we'll be back with more news right after this.
In an effort to make Bermuda's roads safer, and in partnership with Bermuda Police Service and the Bermuda Road Safety Council, DeFon's Broadcasting is launching a safe driving campaign. Complete with thumb bands, come into DeFon's Broadcasting and 94 Reed Street and make the commitment to drive safer and slower for yourself. Your voice could be featured on the radio. Get yourself a thumb band as a reminder of your commitment to drive safer and with fewer distractions. While you're at it, why not get one for someone in your life who also needs a reminder that our roads do not discriminate. They can take anyone's life. Let's drive safe, Bermuda, and arrive alive. Peace and love. Safe journeys.
Government's new immigration rules that will make it easier for overseas people to buy property were passed by the close margin of 2 votes in Parliament after an ill-tempered debate. Shadow Minister for Immigration Walton Brown wanted to know what had happened to the investigation into people who had been suspected of fronting.
I know with absolute certainty that there was a report, a file prepared in the Ministry of Home Affairs, completed by 2012, that was meant to go to the DPP's office for review. I've asked again repeatedly, what is the status of that file? Has government acted on it? Does the minister know about it? because that was extensive research done by a consultant to the government to identify those individuals who were involved in fronting. How can we continue to talk about property and increase in property rights and access to property rights if you haven't fully dealt with the issue of fronting? So I'm asking again formally, what is the status of that file? Has it disappeared? Do we need to bring back the person who actually who did the research, who assessed those files, who prepared documents and named law firms that were complicit in fronting? So I still await answers. This question was last posed formally during the budget debate, and I pose it here again today, Mr. Speaker. We need to have that information. And by the way, anyone who was involved in fronting, who has subsequently applied for Bermuda status, of course, will have that status rendered null and void, because they will have engaged in what the government calls moral turpitude. I just saw a letter last week of someone who was denied status because of what was called moral turpitude, because of something that had been undertaken a few years ago. So if moral turpitude is an issue, it needs to be assessed, and you need to look at it in connection with the fronting that was engaged in.
Minister of Economic Development, Dr. Grant Gibbons, on the other hand, was able to report that the toxic relationship complained of by international firms seeking work permits appeared to be dissipating.
For 2 years in a row now, in fact, I'm meeting next week with about a dozen senior HR people from some of the largest household name international companies here. And what they said when I first met with them in February, March of 2013 was very clear. They said that Bermuda was not even on the radar screen of job placement for their companies because of the toxic immigration environment that they had experienced over the last few years. So any new jobs they were thinking about were going automatically to other places. It was only the advent of a change in term limit policy and some of the immigration policies which got them to start to rethink how they viewed Bermuda. Last year, when I met again in March or so, they said a dramatic change. Things are getting better. We're still a little bit concerned, but we're going to start to look at where Bermuda, and we got into other issues too, the cost of doing business here, et cetera. But it was very clear to me, not only with that example, these are these are HR directors. Some of them are in Bermuda, some of them were in other places. These are companies that have thousands of employees in multiple jurisdictions where they can place people anywhere they want to. And I think that is part of the issue which we faced as an incoming government. And the truth is not pleasant sometimes, but that was the issue that we were facing. My understanding is also that this particular piece of legislation, as did some before it, came out of pretty broad consultation with essentially members of the general business community, not all real estate agents.
St. George's Mayor Cornell Francis has extended an invitation to the people of St. George to gather at Penner's Wharf Terminal Building on Thursday evening for a public town hall meeting. Here's what it's all about. One cannot accuse the mayor of letting any grass grow under her feet. The ink is hardly dry on her swearing-in documents when already she's hitting the ground running. Following up on her campaign promises to keep the people informed, she's given residents an opportunity to meet the whole management team of herself and council members of the Corporation of St. George. She's also having on hand a representative of AC 35 to give an update on the America's Cup Series races. Townspeople will be invited to ask questions and make suggestions. If there are residents who feel out of the loop, this is a chance to have their say. The mayor says she's inviting everybody to be a part of the solution to improve the historic town of St. George. In other words, be a part of the solution. Sounds far better than being part of the problem, don't you think? And now this is not a pleasant story for your dinner time, but Shadow Minister of Transport, Lawrence Scott, is complaining of cockroach infestation on Bermuda's pink buses and wondering if these same buses are being used to transport our visitors around the island. He made the point in Parliament.
Over the past week, 2 weeks, I've actually gotten proof and documentation of video that people have sent to me about roaches that are traveling on the buses. An infestation almost even, and if I knew how to, of roaches on the buses. Yes, Mr. Speaker. No, and the roaches don't have tokens and they haven't paid, not that I know of. So, I mean, so therefore, I mean, I know the Honorable Finance Minister has 46 years of experience. If he could find a way to, 43, sorry, if he could find a way to make these roaches pay, hey, we'd be out of debt in a heartbeat, Mr. Speaker. But I want to go back to the seriousness of this. Remember, because roaches on the bus cannot be helping our tourism product. Are these buses that are roach infested going up to dockyard and being the ones that are used to transport our visitors? Are these roaches the same? Are these roach infested buses the same buses that are going down to our schools and transporting our children?
And now to a more pleasant subject, Earl Baisden and the sports desk.
Bermuda Olympian Tyrone Smith was on the island over the weekend for a few hours. He was the medal presenter for one of his sponsors, Tokyo, at their triathlon. After accomplishing a leap of 8.09 meters in his second meet of the season, Smith said he's happy with the start thus far.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, it's been a long time since I've been able to get over 8 meters. I had a rough last season, but this year started off really well, and I'm really happy to see where it goes.
What's your thoughts about next month, Pan American Games? How are you looking at going into that, attacking that with your new, I guess, feeling about yourself, feeling good, healthy?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Pan Am's. I feel that I'm going to have a real shot at the medals, and it's a little less pressure because I feel healthy, and everything that I've been doing in training and in the meets has felt really easy. So it's kind of like I know it's there. I don't have to force it. I don't have to press it. Just relax, go down the runway and jump, and it'll be a good jump. So it's nice to have that feeling back. It's been a while.
Other than health, what have you been doing to ensure that you're in the right frame of mind to go into these meets as positive as possible?
Well, really, we've just been kind of focusing on knowing that I have the ability, that it's there, and I don't need to force it, I don't need to press. And also, we've changed the training a little bit as I've gotten a little bit older, so I have more rest time than I'm accustomed to, which is interesting, but it seems to be paying dividends. Just being rested and healthy and not beat up when I go into the meets, it makes a huge difference.
And then what's up for you for the rest of the year? Right after Pan Americans, where do you go from here?
Well, Pan Am's, then we have the NACAC Senior Championships, which is 7th and 8th of August, my birthday weekend. And then after that, we've got the World Championships in China. Now, I've still got to qualify for that. It's an 8:15 qualifying mark, but I feel pretty confident that we'll have that here pretty soon. But prior to Pan Am's, I'm going to be over in Europe, and I've got to meet in Morocco on the 14th of June, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Following the 4 days of the Valdez Bermuda National Long Course Championships held over the weekend at the National Sports Center, we can now bring you the overall division winners. Shark Swim Club swimmer Elan Daly won the 12 and under girls title with 2,986 points, while her teammate Holly Bruton finished second with 2,660 points. Jessica Bruton made it a 1, 2, and 3 for the Sharks with 2,550 points to finish in third. The 12 and under boys division was won by Shark swimmer Keegan Woolley with 2,449 points. Harbor Swim Club's Jack Harvey finished second with 2,215 points. Desmond Bryant from the Shark Swim Club finished third with 1,986 points. Shark Swim Club swimmer Madeline Moore was crowned the 13 and over girls champion with 4,316 points. Her teammate Shannon Hassel finished second with 3,656 points. Ashley Yearwood from Harbor Swim Club finished third with 3,617 points. The 13 and over boys division was won by Jesse Washington from the Shark Swim Club with 3,966 points. His club teammate Julian Fletcher was second with 3,911 points, and Tyler Mazurek from Swim Atlanta finished third with 3,802 points. The Cubs defeated the Cardinals at the Kinley Field in the latest round of YAO Cal Ripken baseball action, 14-6. The Cubs scored 7 runs in the third inning to break the game open, a RBI triple by Alex Downey, and a 3-run home run by Yanis Roberts, and a 2-run single by Ty Piera put the Cubs up to stay Sam Resnick led all hitters with a perfect 3-for-3 day at the plate to pace the Cubs. He singled in the first, third, and tripled in the fifth. The Cardinals were led by strong pitching from Matt Engelman, and a triple play by the Cardinals highlighted the game. Kalen Painter pitched a strong 3 2/3 innings, with Resnick coming on in the sixth to close it out. In the other game, the Braves defeated the Orioles 4-0 in a pitcher's duel. Following the Bermuda Cricket Board 2020 semifinals, as well as the Premier and First Division 50-over matches over the weekend, we now look at the top performers with both bat and ball. In the batting department, Alan Douglas Jr. from Cleveland County had the best knock of the weekend, scoring 131 not out against the Somerset Cricket Club in their Premier Division match, while his cousin, Chris Douglas, scored 128 for the Devonshire Recreation Club against Somerset Bridge in their First Division match, and Oladapo Frederick, also from Devonshire Recreation Club, scored 105 in the same game. Dante Wellman from PHC returned the best bowling figures of the weekend. He bowled 7.3 overs, 1 maiden, 6 wickets for 44 runs against St. George's Cricket Club, while figures of 10 overs, 3 maidens, 5 for 20 saw LeVar Talbot, representing Devonshire Recreation Club, record the second best figures of the weekend. Malachi Jones from Bailey's Bay had figures of 10 overs, 1 maiden, 5 for 22 for the third best for the weekend. The Bermuda Inline Hockey League season resumed at the PCC Hockey Rink last evening with a doubleheader that produced 29 goals. In the opening match, it featured the Somerset Snappers against the St. George's Generals. The St. George's Generals exploded for 6 goals in the first period to take a 6-1 lead into the break. Neither team would score in the second period before the St. George's Generals would score 3 times in the final period and restrict the Somerset Snappers to 2 goals to come away with a 9-3 victory. Andrew Carnell led the St. George's Generals to victory with 4 goals, while Jeffrey Engelman scored a hat-trick. Pete Brodsky and Owen Cease added a goal each. The Somerset Snappers got 2 goals from Matthew Benson and a single strike from Richard Campbell. The Nightcap saw the Pembroke Pirates outshoot the Paget Pistols 10-7. As she continues to put the final touches on her preparations for the upcoming Pan American Games, Jillian Teixeira concluded competing in Austria in the International Lampushan horse jumping event. Competing in only one event on the final day, which was the 6 to 7-year-old youngster tour final, 1.30 to 1.35 meter, with a jump-off class, Teixeira and Duke of Somerset finished 50th with a time of 79.16, but they had 18 penalty fault points. I'm Earl Baston reporting for VSB Sports.
And now for the weather. For Wednesday, June the 3rd, there will be a mix of sun and cloud. I think the winds will be southeasterly, light, increasing light to moderate overnight. The high will be near 80 and the low near 72. This weather forecast is courtesy of the Bermuda Weather Service. Thank you for watching VSB News Online for Tuesday, June the 2nd. I'm Charles Webb.